Hello and welcome back to episode 50 of the MotoGP Career Mode. We've made it to half a century of episodes, and today we will be doing episode 1 of season 4 of After Losing Count. It's our second season in the GP class. We will be riding, of course, for Suzuki. My team this year is Parts Europe. We do have My World as a secondary sponsor, as well as Oakley, Motul, Michelin. But you will see in a couple of seconds the new livery, so I'm going to cut to it now. So here is the 2022 Suzuki privateer team that I will be running. This is the livery I've gone for. So I've gone for a classic Suzuki colours. I've gone for the kind of Rizzle blue they had about 12-13 years ago. And you can see the wheels and the small little accents on the fairing are kind of a navy with a hint of white. It's 3 classic Suzuki colours. I think it looks pretty smart. Now you can see as well I have changed my helmet. I have downloaded that one off some user. Made a Schwantz replica helmet. I absolutely adore that helmet. I love the bright colours in it. So I'm going to be running that for the season. For the most part, I reckon anyway, I like that helmet. Obviously some things like these you don't see that very often. You only see them in the end of race. You see the podium celebration and stuff like this. But I still like to show it off to show what I'm actually doing. So yeah. This will be my livery for the most part of the year. It will be up to change in certain places. I will run a special livery probably at home for the Japanese Grand Prix Motegi, such like that. But we're a long way from Motegi yet. That's a long way in the distance. So yeah, this is the season opener and this will be the livery. So we can get back into it now. And we shouldn't have much to go until the season starts. So I'm just going to advance. They asked me, do I want to set it up? I do not want to set up a Moto2 season for this year. So it won't be till next season, till season 5 that we have the Moto2 team. So we have an engine upgrade and lots of payments going out. So now it is time, finally. Oh, we have actually, hang on. We have some management to do. We have 1 new member in each. Like you're better on engine, I need chassis people. You're no good to me. So it's going to reject you. And we're going to have a look at the chief engineer. I lose load. No, I need. Again, I could lose too much with them. At least with you guys, he's a frame specialist. She's an engine specialist. He's a frame and aero and engine. So we have kind of all bases covered slightly. But I would like to upgrade the 2 of them. Suzuki headquarters, so I have 1 upgrade done. So now what will I do next? Can I even afford anything? I cannot in the engine. I can in the frame, so better reactivity or better tire. I have to go with that first, don't I? So yeah, let's belt that on. You're a frame person. 3, 4, so that's 10 weeks. Yes, oh no, wrong button. So 1, 2, 3, 4 should be 10 weeks. Yes to this, obviously. And then we go back and look how far down the calendar does that take. That doesn't come on till, okay, that's not good. That comes into Catalunya. That is not good enough. So we're going to throw an extra man at this. Add staff 7 weeks, 6 can I get? So you and you, that's 5 weeks. I can take that. That is good enough for me. And that wouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to try and get that done best we can. And yeah, let's get on track. Right, here we are in Q2. We managed to get P9 in FP3, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. We got shuffled back through the sessions and we didn't make it into the top 10 through the free practices. We managed to scrape through Q1, and here we are now in our for lovely blue. You can see the whole bike is blue, and we are on our first proper push lap of the season, our qualifying lap for Q2. Wasn't a great lap. I will hold my hands up. I'm not great around here. I have struggled a lot with the bike here. I have some weird front end unconfidentness just feels weird. I'm underconfident with the bike. It turns in some aspects, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bit unstable. It just doesn't feel like the bike I had in Sepang, where I was quick and it felt brilliant in the front end. You can see we're 0.3 off halfway around, it's not too bad. Qatar isn't a great track for me. I'm not massively good here. Especially on this game, I find that I'm not great here, even in third person. So I do expect to be pretty average here in first person as well, because I do lose a good bit of time. But we should still be able to maybe get to the top 10. But you can see nearly pretty much a second off as we come into the final sector. I'm finding it very, very hard to do a clean lap without track extending. It's such just the way the track lends itself to racing. It kind of wants to be pushed to the limits, and then you end up track extending, get penalties. So that's something to watch out for in the race. But as we're coming up to the line now, 51.9 is current pole, 51.9 is gone. It's going to be 53.0, which puts us P10. So we just out-qualify Rossi and Petrucci. But yeah, I think our goal is second row, so that's top 6. We are second Aprilia, second Suzuki even. You can see the late Espargaro on the front row. We are running a soft front medium rear like the bulk of the grid. Yeah, I'm not massively looking forward to this one. Don't like this track. I'm eager to try and get it over and done with now, this one. We do 2 rounds here. Now the second round should be better, because I actually find you learn so much during the race when you're doing constant laps on full fuel right at the front. You actually learn a lot. So I do believe Qatar 2 should be better. Now, my aim here is to score points. So here we are. We're just behind the current world champ, well, the real life world champion, Joan Mir. But anyway, 5 red lights and we're off, and we get a cracking launch. Make up good few positions up into top 5. We're nearly up the inside of our old factory teammate of Aleix Espargaro. We make it up as far as P5 right here, but we are on the outside for turn 2, which won't be ideal. So Ducati sneaks up. We're for a split second in P4. So we tuck in now behind Francesco Bagnaia. We run it wide there. So quite difficult. I didn't really want to run the soft front. It was something that kind of forced my hand due to my lack of pace. The medium tyre feels better, but the change of direction and the stability of the bike is so much better with soft front. So I do expect my pace in the latter laps to be poor. But this has been a brilliant start so far, up to P5 for myself. So it will be interesting to see where this race will take us early on here. And there's a crash further back. Can't see who it is. Oh, we have a little moment there with Maverick Vinales. He comes through turn 9 much quicker than I do, and he gives me a small tap. He's right on my inside, is he? No, he's tucked back in behind. You can see already we are losing time to Francesco Bagnaia on the Ducati. So it's a pretty good start from Fabio Quartararo. He leads. The current world champion is Bagnaia. He's in P4, and Miller and Aleix Espargaro splitting the 2 of them. See, that corner there is so annoying. The natural line just brings you out to the outside of the track to turn back in, and when you tip in the rear, it always just touches the grass. So I do expect myself to get more penalties there, but we've let the door open. Maverick Vinales has gone up me inside. Zarco has tried, but we've actually collided on the apex, but he's got such a good run. Put up the power tree, get in his slipstream. I purposely shortened my 6th gear. You probably can hear it in the bike screaming, but I know 6th gear was just too long and the bike kind of bogged us more of it. We actually run at a touch wide into one. Zarco cuts Nidas, and so does our teammate Mir. So we're back as far as P8, unfortunately. So it's kind of developed into 2 groups of 4, and we are at the back of the second group. So maybe we have a bit more chance of keeping pace with these guys. You can see how far the others have pulled away from me. Now it's a factory Ducati 1-2. Fabio has dropped back to P4, so probably got bit of slipstream down the straight, and they probably all blasted by, but not. It was a good start, but I'm starting to see my lack of pace and my how uncomfortable at the moment I am on this bike. I do believe there's some inherent issues with this bike. I'm not going to say anything yet because I need to do more races before I start throwing the hands up. So it's better out of the box than the Aprilia was, possibly, but also I'm a much better rider than I was, and there's big contact. The rear comes around, someone hits me. It was Marc Marquez, I think. Absolutely reckless from Marquez. What do you expect from him? But he pushes us. We were just dived inside when we leaned over, forced me to sit up. The rear end came round. I was lucky not to crash. But we've run off track, dropped back from P8 back to P14, so we're barely in the points now. We have a Repsol Honda just behind us of Paul Espargaro, so we really are struggling here. That didn't help from us. Paul Espargaro was not gone for it there. We get a good exit though on our team bike riders, teammate. It's not really teammate, it's more manufacturer mate. And we blast past him, and we're probably going to go for the Ducati. We think better of it. Again, just a touch wide. The A take a really early apex and runs it wide out of turn 1. Now it will be critical. I can maybe get past a few of these and get up as far as Marquez, because he seems to have the pace. We've touched Bastianini's gone down. We've got another track limits warning, and that has caused a massive crash behind us. He was slow. We went around the outside and he just kind of understeered into the side of us, and he took the front. So apologies to Bastianini, but there was nothing I could do there. He drifted into my line and was kind of a racing incident in my eyes. Next up now we've Rins again, who we've already passed, but he's managed to snake his way through after that little collision between me and Bastianini. Maybe wonder, as he touches a curb there, the rear end has a snap sideways and the front bobs. He runs slightly wide. So again, this is flip-flop here. That change of direction to 8-9 is so tricky. We're back to P14 again. This time a Honda. As flying upper inside is Taka Nakagami. So halfway through lap 3 here, we're coming up now to the halfway point of the race. My pace isn't great. I don't feel great on these tyres. I feel pretty difficult to keep the bike on track. P14 isn't great. We fast forward here to the end of this lap, and we managed to get the fastest lap of the race at 53.3 compared to a 51.8 of Maverick Vinales on the Yamaha. We managed to blast past Nakagami again. We managed to use him out to the last corner. A bit of slipstream, small bit of power 3, and we got beside him. Now in this opening sector, it's our strongest sector up as far as turn 4. After turn 4 we're pretty weak. The bike always tends to snap sideways coming in here, which makes it very difficult to hit the apex. This corner here as well isn't too bad. Then the bike, because you're changing direction and braking, coming down into this corner here, turn 6 I think it is, and just see the bike gets unstable and it wants to run on a lot of time. This sector here now, I feel quite strong on the braking into 7. And you can just bring the bike back, get a late apex on 8, 9, 10, 11. All these corners from here to the end of the track, I'm pretty poor. It's very flowy sector that I would imagine I'd like, but I find it very, very hard to keep the bike under control and make sure I hit my marks and get the not track limit warnings and all that. But we're on a cracking lap of 1.5 under the moment. Now I do feel I probably will lose time through this sector, just because I do struggle. I'm turning in a bit too early there, and that's a third track limits warning and lap 4, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that because we're only 2 off a long lap penalty, which will put us out of the points. 2 corners to go on this lap now. Nakagami is sitting pretty right behind us. He is waiting for any moment to pounce. We do run touch wide. We're going to take a late apex, squaring it off using all my medium tyre up. So it's going to be 1.1 we're going to finish the lap with, so we're not going to dip down into the 51s like it looked like. So 52.2, that is 0.8 faster than we went in qualifying in race trim, which is brilliant up there for me. So still just not close enough to Rins to be able to make a pass. Again, we're going to close right up in sector 1, but this is where we will start to lose out of here, turn 3. And then turn 4 onwards is where we're quite weak, so Going to struggle again for the rest of this lap. But there is a big gap ahead of us. We are in P13 as of now. If anyone in the front group were to go down. And Fabio Quartararo has dropped right back. He's on the front of this group. Looks to be 7 riders up, so it looks like it's P5. Aleix Espargaro, in fairness to him, all the developments I did last year for his Aprilia seems to keep him at the front, up in P3 at the moment, so he's making good on it. That's oh, I was close. I thought that was my 4th track limit zone incoming there, but it was not, thankfully. So out of turn 11 we come, spinning the rear up. Nakagami has got back around, mistaking the previous corner, and he is back alongside me, and we've managed to pick up our 4th track limits on it. But again, up to power 3, good bit of slipstream. The Suzuki is slippery in a straight line when you have the power turned up, and up the line we come. Back into the 52s that lap, so decent up there from myself. You can see there's plenty. Oh, as Nakagami actually fights back in 1. We're going to try and send it into turn 2 and keep the position as we do. But again, we're not going to get anywhere near these guys. You're just such a big group. If I was a bit more comfortable, I reckon top 6 is on the card. So it will be critical for the second race here in Qatar that if I can just improve my pace a touch, I could go from 13 to maybe battling for the podium, because I'm only 6 seconds off. I know it's 7 laps, so it's about a second a lap, but if you look at my lap times, so 53.8, 53.3, it's half a second. Then I took 1.1 off, then I was 1.2 off. So my lap times are so inconsistent that... Oh, as we come back and attacking, Nakagami was there, and we've actually collided with him, and he's gone down. He's taken Miguel Oliveira with him, so unfortunately we've caused another crash. Again, we went for a late apex. He tried to turn it tight underneath and it just didn't work. I couldn't see him until it was too late. At that point, he had already crashed. So we have a big gap now back to Marini in P14. We have a second and a half to Binder. We are up into what it looks like, and there's a bike down to the left, and it's Aleix Espargaro. Oh, after I just complimented him on his good performance up on the podium using all of his upgrades from last year. And Lorenzo Salvadori and Luca Marini have crashed. And we've actually run off track. That could be a long lap. No, we got away with it. We went so slowly, we got away with it. So we've managed to sneak back up to P12 after it looks like Aleix tucked her front through the fast rights. A rider who's known for always riding on his limits. But it's the final lap here anyway in Qatar, race 1. It's going to be a handful of points, which is I suppose the best we could hope for in one of my bogey tracks. Not looking forward to the second race here. I'm going to have to do my best to qualify you as best I can. Get a good start and see can I get away with the leaders, and see can they just pull me along for an extended period of this race to get me into a position where I can actually get a good result. P12 isn't where you want to be starting off your championship challenge. As we are on a Suzuki this year, we do want to be fighting for the top 5 positions in the championship. I'd love to go for the title. Now, I do believe that we're going to struggle with this bike to win races, and I think we could have a very similar season to what we did on the Aprilia, where we struggle and towards the end of the year we start to get up to speed. Now, I should be an overall better rider because I have done a year in first person on a GP bike, so I do understand it a bit more. I'm much more comfortable than I was back when I first joined the Aprilia team, so that should stand to me for the season, that I should be overall at a higher level myself, and the Suzuki should be a higher level bike than the Aprilia. If not, my improvements of my own skill should bring me closer to the front. So we should see. It's going to be a long season. We're going to have to ride at our best for most of it and try and develop the bike where we can. But we're coming out of the last corner for the final time, and it's going to be nearly 10 seconds off the winner, who's Miller from Bagnaia, and Vinales, who wins the race, and P12 for myself. So not great, but one of my weaker tracks. I'll take it. It's a handful of points. We kept ourselves out of trouble for the most part, but we did end up getting rammed by Marc Marquez, who comes home in 8. Rossi up in P6, great result for him. And a good few riders, late. So actually no Aprilia finished in that race, so there's obviously a big crash further back. So Aprilia struggling. Frankie Morbidelli taking the fast lap on the last lap. Seems to be some way when the AI crossed the line they set it in a ridiculous lap, because a 50.6 is something I struggle to do in first person, or third person, never mind first person. That is just ridiculous speed. So Miller, of course, leading the championship. We're 9th in the team, and Suzuki at the moment is 3rd in the teams, or the constructors, which is pretty good. You can see, because we're in a slightly more prestigious team, we're losing lots of reputation because of our poor results. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that for the contract. And you can see we're getting a good bit of credits here, making the money back, so we can start investing in our Moto3 team. And now we'll see in a second how they got on. It just shows off our research data, so we have pretty much good amount. So a P6 and P7 for my boys in Qatar. Happy with that. That is a good result. But nonetheless, I'm going to leave episode 1, or episode 50, whatever, race 1 you should say, of this season here. Thank you so much for watching. I should have the next one up in the next few days. It'll be, of course, Qatar 2. But until then, I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.